I've noticed a new feature in ChatGPT, the Archive All button. Based on the name, it should let us archive all our chats at once. In this video, I'm going to explore if this addition is a smart way to organize our conversations, given the absence of a search function for past chats. Or, might it just end up making things more cluttered? First up, let's see how the archive function works for individual conversations. Here's my most recent chat. I'll go ahead and click the archive button, just like this. And there you go, the conversation is no longer visible in the main menu. Now, let's head over to the archive chat section in the settings. This is where we can manage and review all our archived conversations. Here's the conversation I just archived. This definitely seems like a handy way to declutter your conversation history. Now, I'm going to archive another chat, and then revisit the archive chat section. Both conversations are now here in the archive. Each one displays the name and date of the conversation, with options to either unarchive or delete it. I'll click on the Unarchive button for the top conversation. And you can see, it immediately shows up in the left menu, even before I close this archive chat screen. Now, imagine if I can't recognize a conversation by its name in the archives. I can simply click on the name to load the full conversation, like this. Even if this chat isn't in my current chat history, it's still accessible through its unique URL. Once I open it, I can read through the conversation. And if I decide I want it back in my main chat history, I can just hit the Unarchive button like this. Instantly, it reappears in my chat history panel. Now, let's take a look at the Archive All option, which is crucial for decluttering the chat history. When I click it, I get a confirmation prompt, warning that all chat history will be archived. This makes me a bit hesitant, as there's no clear documentation on the feature. My concern is that if I archive all my chats, I might have to unarchive them one by one. There's no mention of an undo feature, or a way to unarchive multiple chats at once. I've decided not to use the Archive All function on my ChatGPT Plus account, as it contains over 1,000 conversations. Instead, I'll use a free account for this demonstration, assuming that the feature works the same in both. In this free account, I only have 5 conversations in the history panel, all from a few months ago. So, I'm heading to the settings to click on the Archive All option. This time, I'll confirm the action. It displays a message saying successfully archived chats. However, I can still see all my conversations in the chat history panel. I'm not entirely sure how this archiving feature is supposed to work. To test it out, I'm going to create a couple of test conversations, using ChatGPT's suggested prompts. Let me create the second test conversation. Now, there are 2 new conversations in my chat panel. Let's try the Archive All option again. The same notification appears, and this time the 2 new conversations seem to be archived, while the older ones remain visible. It looks like this feature might be applicable only to new conversations, possibly those created after this feature's rollout. I'm heading to the Manage section now, to check if these 2 chats are indeed in the Archive Chat section. Here are the 2 conversations I just tested. So, it seems the archiving function is working correctly for new conversations. Next, I'm going to unarchive one of these conversations, by clicking the Unarchive button. As expected, it moves back to the main panel instantly. Now, let's try something a bit different. I'm going to manually archive one of the older chats. After that, I'll head over to the archives, and unarchive that same conversation. Just as expected, it reappears in the left panel. However, interestingly, it's now positioned at the top of the list, instead of being sorted under the 2023 label, like it was originally. I have unarchived a few more conversations as well. I'm thinking that the old conversation I selected earlier might now be included when I use the Archive All feature. Now, I'm going to add a new request to one of the older conversations to bring it to the top of the list. And there it is, right on top. So, now I have 2 older conversations, listed in the Today section of the panel. Let me use the Archive All option again, and observe what happens. Just as I thought, all the conversations in the Today section are archived, while the older conversations remain as they were. Let me head over to the Manage section, and verify if all the conversations have indeed been archived. It looks like the process was successful. Here's one of the older conversations, and here's another one. So, the archiving function works as expected, though it doesn't automatically archive older conversations. But, my main concern was whether this could be a temporary workaround for the lack of a search function. Take a look at my conversation history here. You can see it's quite a challenge to access older conversations, because there's no search function. With the Archive All feature, we can archive all current conversations, and move them to a separate section. After archiving, your conversation history will look empty, like this. Then, you can go through the archived chats, selectively returning the ones you need, back to your history. This method does make managing conversations a bit easier, until OpenAI introduces a search feature for conversations. However, there's a catch: older conversations aren't included in the Archive All. This means you'd have to archive each one manually, which can be quite a task. So, Archive All isn't a complete solution for conversation management just yet. Ideally, we should have the ability to archive old conversations, and selected set of chats. Hopefully, these enhancements will be available in the near future. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and like this video to see more AI-related videos.